Okay, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to share. Um,
Here we go. We'll be watching the video for about 3 minutes, and then I can begin.
We're going to go over things to do, places to visit, and also accommodations. And at the end of the video, I'll let you know how many points this flight cost me because I don't pay cash for these trips. All right, for those that don't know, Kampala is the capital city of Uganda, which is located in East Africa. In Kampala, there's always something to see or do. Just riding around and looking at all the crazy traffic is exciting. You get to see all the beautiful sights and all of the beautiful people. When in Kampala, I highly recommend taking a tour. The tour service that I used was the Kampala sightseeing bus. They were great. One of the stops on the tour was Kabaka's Palace, which I've been told is the main palace of the Buganda Kingdom. The current king doesn't reside here, but the palace is still used for official receptions. Now, while in Uganda, you know I had to try one of their delicacies, grasshoppers. Yes, I know, but it was actually pretty good. If you visit, definitely give it a try. Another stop on the tour was the Uganda National Mosque, also known as the Gaddafi Mosque, as it was built by Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. This mosque was beautiful. Located on Kampala Hill, the mosque seats up to 15,000 people and is the second biggest mosque in East Africa. While there, you can climb to the top of the mosque and check out some of the great views of Kampala. It's a bit of a climb to the top, but it's definitely worth it. Like I said, the views are amazing. You can see most of the city from up here. Kampala is also definitely a party town and has a really good nightlife. They also have some really good restaurants to check out. As far as accommodations, I stayed at the Sheraton Kampala Hotel, which is in the heart of Kampala. This hotel has hosted presidents as well as many other public figures. The property had a great pool, different restaurants and bars on site, 65,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. Also, my flight from Maputo, Mozambique to Kampala, Uganda cost me 9,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points earned on my Chase Sapphire Reserve card. Again, I had a great time in Kampala and highly recommend visiting. Great people, great culture, and lots to see and do. I'll definitely be back. Don't forget, make sure you check out the
That was an introductory video to what Kampala. Uh, Allow me to begin fully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to check out highlights of my trip to
Okay. Sorry for the glitches. I think we should be able now to move on. I welcome you to Viga Sunrise CBO, and today it's a cultural orientation. Basically, we started with Kampala in Uganda, which is just 27 kilometers from where Viga Sunrise CBO is located. And this will be the first major town that you'll be going through before getting to us. We are here to help and grow our communities get better and bigger as time goes by. We help them have a greater hope of what tomorrow is and tomorrow will hold for them. Today we're doing a cultural awareness of what Uganda is, what you need to expect, and what you'll be going through. This is close to what we had about 2 years ago. I unfortunately lost a niece on Friday and traveled to Rwanda, where I just returned this morning. So not so much has changed from our earlier presentation, but a few things we'll be able to see that are quite different from what we had before. Allow me to inform you that Uganda is a heterogeneous nation that comprises over 53 different tribes and ethnic groups. Each of these people speak a different language that may either be similar or completely different from their neighbors. Unlike where you're coming from, it is very different here that within the clinic setting alone, we have 7 different languages that are spoken as we work together. So when you get to the languages that we use, we will commonly use the Luganda language, which is mainly spoken in central Uganda, but we are quite that diverse. Each of these peoples and ethnicities have their own beliefs and cultures, and each of them practice them at different occasions and in different stages of life, as we'll be looking on as we move forward. Uganda is a spiritual country that religion is at the helm of everything that is done. It is commonplace to find a person and they'll tell you, praise God. Or you'll do an act of kindness and somebody will tell you, thank you and may God bless you. Or you'll be moving somewhere and meet somebody and the first thing they'll want to share with you is their faith of what they believe in, of the God that they know and the God that they serve and how far he has brought them from where they believed they have been to where they are. Julia did experience this when she was here the last time. I think the first invitation was to a church in Kisoga, if I'm to remember well, and then she did visit me as they were going for their trip around Kampala. They did go to the church I go to, and they can attest to the fact that the country is predominantly a religious country, where we have Muslims, those who believe in the Allah, Prophet Muhammad. We have the Christians who believe in God, and these are into quite a number of segments: Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, Presbyterian, Evangelicals, among others. Then we have also a very small percentage the African traditionalists, who I think back home you would call atheists. We also have them here, and they have what they believe, and they hold this what they believe so dear. So you're coming to a country with such diversity, and we've learned to live with each of these people and their beliefs and respect them as they may be. Looking at Uganda, it's such a beautiful country. As you may see there, that's a picture of the Nile. And here we're saying that the largest group that live in Uganda, the biggest population, they are the Baganda. And we live in the Buganda area. That's where Sunrise operates. And that's why I informed you that the language we mainly use is Luganda, though we speak different, 7 different tribes. Luganda cuts across and we speak it all. One thing we need to know is that Uganda was colonized by the British from the late 1800s. And it is until 1962 that Uganda got its independence from the British colonial masters. So a lot of the culture that you'll experience in Uganda is hinged on the British culture. I believe you will not have a problem communicating in English because the accent is at least somewhere there. Percentages of over 70% of the people you will meet can be able to understand basic English, though they may not speak, but they'll take instructions in those language, in the English language. One thing we'll need to note also is that the different ethnicities engage in different activities as a source of their livelihoods. Where the Bantus are largely agriculturalists, mainly doing the plant-based agriculture, the Nilots are pastoralists. And these are found in different parts of Uganda. Historically, they include the societies that were governed by royal families. And when I talk of the royal families in the introduction video, you saw the Kabaka's palace. That is the royal family for Buganda. And that's where their king lives, used to live until that palace was attacked. He now has other several palaces scattered over the suburbs of Kampala, where he now stays, but that the Lubiri has been preserved as a place where he lives and where he performs his official duties once in a while. The Bantu were believed to have originated from the western part of Africa before we came and occupied Uganda. And these Bantu, the languages, the tribes spoken are quite so many. Here I've mentioned the Baganda, the Basoga, the Batoro, the Banyoro, Bagisu, Bagweri, Bafumbira, Basamya, Bahima, Bakonjo, Bachiga, among others. The tribes are quite so many that we cannot just mention all. And these people, what brings them together and why they are called Bantu, in the reference to a person, they all end with the NTU sound. The Banyankole will call him Omuntu. The Baganda will say Omuntu. The Bakonzo will say Omundu. The Batoro will say Omuntu. So like they are called Bantu because in referring to a person, they use the NTU at the end of of the word or of the naming of a person. These people predominantly live in the southwestern part of Uganda and also in the central part. Those in the southwestern part are known to be very good at rearing cattle, what we call the long-horned cattle, and these are the Banyankole and the Bachiga tribes. Whereas in the Western Nilotic languages, they are mainly found in northern Uganda and are traditionally agriculturalists. They mainly grow cereals, that is sorghum, simsim, and millet. So basically, that's what they grow, most of these people. And when maize was introduced, which was not traditionally a local crop, or what you call corn, they also adopted it. Unlike the Bantu, who are organized as kingdoms, these tribes are organized as chiefdoms, and they include the Acholi, the Langi, the Arur, the Jonam tribal groups. They are quite ruled by a smaller and less chiefs, but these chiefs at the end of the day, they have a chief, the one they call the paramount chief that they all report to at the end of the day. We also have the other third, the speakers of the Eastern Nilotic language, and these ones are primarily in Eastern Uganda, and they include the Ikaramajong and the Itesot. Three of our employees here are Itesot, so perhaps you'll be able to interact with and have a feel of what Itesot feels like. They are Kakwas, and also these are traditionally pastoralists, and they are organized as smaller segments of society called clans. The Karamajong are nomadic pastoralists. They move from place to place in search of pasture and water. And it's the season. One time you'll find that there's a family here, and when the season changes, this family will relocate 200, 300 kilometers away from where they used to have their settlement. So they keep on moving in search of pasture and water for their animals. Quite a lot of traditional dances do we have as a community. When it comes to our culture, there's a lot that we do in commemoration of different occasions, and these are celebrated using different dances. In Buganda, there's a traditional dance for marriage. There's a traditional dance for a childbirth. There's a traditional dance for Okwalula Abalongo. Okwalula Abalongo is introduction of the twins into the community. Is a very special ceremony, and a person or a man who bears twins is called a salongo, whereas a woman, a mother to twins, is called a nalongo. These are very prestigious titles, and these are people you revere when you're greeting. Back here, you hear somebody is a salongo, the greeting is different. You don't just call them by name without adding the title salongo. If it's a woman, you have to add the title nalongo, because it's a rare thing and very respectable for a woman to have twins. So each of these occasions have different traditional dances, which I'm sure that when you're here, you'll be able to witness. Interestingly, the Bamasaba have a traditional dance, what we call the Imbalu dance. This Imbalu dance is a dance that is used during the circumcision seasons. All males in the Vamasava culture, at the time they turn 13, every male should undergo a circumcision, and it's a cultural occasion that they all go to, and there's a specific dance that they will participate in as initiating them into adulthood as their culture dictates. Uganda is endowed with a lot of fruits, vegetables, cereals, and all other foods. And I should say Ugandans love food. And in the loving food, people eat and they eat everything. And that's why we are fleshy, as you may look at my face. We are not small people. We eat food, and we eat it in good amounts. And I hope you'll also enjoy the food, that by the time you leave here, there will be some extra pounds you need to shed off when you're back home. Anyway, so these foods are prepared, and basically to those communities that can afford, 3 meals are preferable. But it can't go without saying that due to the hurdles and the economic hardships of life, very many families can no longer afford 3 meals in a day. Others will have a meal or 2 more to the most. Otherwise, it's no longer the age. And these meals have always been prepared culturally by the girls. It's not the place of boys and men to cook. This has gone on changing, but still in the central culture where we are located as Sunrise, it's still the ladies' role to cook. And the boys will, and the men will be going around with other responsibilities, but not cooking. There's usually an open fireplace, either in the kitchen or close or under the veranda of the main house, where people prepare their food using firewood. Those families that are trying to move up the radar will either use charcoal, and some have started affording gas as time goes by with the introduction of government programs for clean energy cooking as a program that has come up. Our foods mainly, and the most popular that you'll, I think, taste on your first day, may be the staple matoke, which is steamed matoke that is steamed and made, it's made out of bananas and within banana leaves. That is the popular meal that you will be eating. Others, you'll have the normal meals. Traditionally, there is millet, bread, there's cassava, which is called tapioca. You'll have quite a number and a variety of sweet potatoes. Then there are also Irish potatoes. They've started introducing themselves to French fries. You'll have a lot of traditional fruits like fene, what you call the jackfruit. I don't know if Rhonda did taste the jackfruit the time she was here. Very sweet fruit. There will be plenty of avocado, which I believe quite a number of people love, though others don't. So quite with the food, there's quite a lot that you'll be able to experiment with. And just below in that picture is how the steamed Sorry, it seems like I lost you on the other line.
Yeah, we did lose you for a minute there. Do you want to try logging back in?
My network is trying to log me back in, so just a second.
Daaki, while you're logging back in, there was a question. What is the national drink in Uganda?
The national what?
The national drink. Is there a drink that is associated with Uganda?
Oh, there are two different drinks. One is the Nile beer, and then the other one is the Nile beer is the refined one. That is a drink that is associated with Uganda, and it's purely Ugandan. And then there is omubisi. Omubisi is juice made out of bananas, a specific type of banana that we use to make very sweet and tasty juice. So basically, those are the two. And also these vary from community to community. So you may not have a fully national one. I'm referring to those two for areas where people grow bananas and where they brew beer. But besides those, there are other, when you get to Ateso, they have what they call the Ajono. It's a traditionally brewed beer where both men and women sit around the pot and you'll find them enjoying the beer. So it will vary from community to community. The reason I mentioned the Nile Special beer is because this one is the brand that associates you with the Nile Special or the Uganda Waragi. Those are you're directly linked to the Ugandan brand for anybody who enjoys a beer.
Thank you, Daaki.
Pleasure is mine. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We certainly did have a lot of wonderful food when we were staying at the clinic. Daaki, will Lydia be cooking for us again?
Yes, Lydia will be available.
Wonderful.
Okay, I think I've regained my connection. Okay. I hope and believe you cannot hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. I was discussing our food. And I talked of the Uganda waraji, which is a banana gin that we normally enjoy as as Ugandan. It's a brand that perhaps I'll commend that whoever takes a beer should be able to do what to test a Nile Special and the Uganda waraji. All our food is domestically produced, so we rarely import food. Predominantly, we are small-scale farmers, and we're surrounded by lakes, rivers, and a number of other water bodies, swamps all over. Approximately, the rate right now, the USD to UGX is 3,720. Looking at us and our architecture, traditional architects still exist and still do a very good job. Graph site houses are still a norm of many pastoral communities and quite a number of rural communities. These huts are usually cylindrical in shape, and the roof is made of grass or straw or papyrus. These are very simple, but also functional and fit perfectly into the environment. It's only in the cities where you find a mixture of both modern and colonial architecture that perhaps when you move in Kampala and these areas around us, you'll be able to see the old colonial buildings and the new contemporary buildings that are coming up. Shopping arcades that you'll be able to see, those you'll be able to find in modern, in urban areas. Examples, here is the conference centers in Kampala that you did see one in the video that we started with, which features a lot of modern architecture. Overall, the country's architecture reflects both a historical and cultural diversity, and it is an important part of our identity that we cherish so much. Below there are the Manyata. It's the Manyata settlement that is in the northern part of Uganda, where families live in a community that is close that way. And this is just one family. You'll find up to the second or third grandparent living in such a community. This helps to keep the community bound together, the community bonds together, and it calls for strong family values wherever you find communities that are like this. So family is still a very important aspect of our culture as Uganda. The water bodies that surround us in the picture, we have the Lake Edward, the Victoria, George, Choga, all these are lakes that surround us. And we are a landlocked country that borders Kenya, South Sudan, DRC, Rwanda, Tanzania. All these countries surround us. And approximately, we are 37,000 square kilometers in area. And that is what is occupied by land, by the waters that we have, whereas the other part of our country is the land. Uganda is located on the Eastern Plateau that averages 1,100 meters above sea level. And you'll be able to meet and experience a lot of slopes. It's generally equatorial, and our climate is one of the best that you can have. it is summer all year round, and it is autumn all year round. So you don't have the summer and winter. Yeah, this morning it rained, but I was able to enjoy the sunshine after about 2 hours. There's a lot that our country has in terms of forests, parks, the animals. Both Rhonda and Julia can attest to that. And when you're here, I believe you'll be able to experience that. The scenery is wonderful. The concept of hospitality, shaking hands is one thing. Eye contact is not a thing that you need to have all the time. And everybody that is senior to you, it is respectable calling them aunt or uncle, or jaja if it is a very elderly woman, or a mzee when it is an older, very elderly man. When it comes to gender and the gender rights, Uganda's culture is still traditionally African, and at the very young stage of transitioning into the modern gender culture of the Western world. Most of Uganda, especially the rural areas, are still patriarchal. And in most rural areas, women will most likely be housewives, with all critical home decisions left to the husband. The women do the cooking, cleaning, laundry, and take care of children, as well as work their land. So that is with the rural areas of which Sunrise is located. You'll still find this predominant. Once a woman is married, they move from their father's family and join the husband, and she adopts the husband's clan as her new clan, her culture as her new culture, and her religious beliefs as her religious beliefs. There's nothing like independence. I've married you, and I'll remain the way. No, everything changes immediately the ceremony is done. Marriage always includes an exchange of gifts, what we call bride wealth, that the woman's family normally sets for the man to pay before they can take their daughter's hand into marriage. I don't know how your culture there is. Otherwise, here, I have to pay to get a wife. And this will be in the range of 1 cow to 150 cows. So this is as a way of showing that the man is capable to take care of the wife that they want to take home. So you should be able to pay, and then you're showing that you're able to take care. This is called Kwanjula in the central part of Uganda, and in Western it's called Okuhinjira. Polygamy is still generally accepted in many areas. Even when we talk of Uganda being a predominantly Christian country, polygamy is still being practiced in very many areas, and it's acceptable. In most rural areas, women have to wear clothes that cover their legs. If not, the society will read to them quite time after time why they have to be dressed in a skimpy manner. Part of our culture is tolerance and how we deal with our grievances. It's culture that what happens in a place or in a house remains an in-house matter that must be resolved therein. This allows one, instead of finding the hardest way to fit in, rather to be comfortable with how things work and also seek amends when they still have a chance to do so. Part of our courtesy and our hospitality is greeting every now and then. A greeting begins with the welcoming tusanyuse okukulaba nnyabo oba ssebo. Nyabo is for a female and sebo is for a male. Tusanyuse okukulaba is we are happy to see you. That is how the greeting begins, and then there are quite a number of pleasantries that are shared. For your well-being, the whole community assumes responsibility. It is not an issue of just one person, but rather the community. They need to know, is so and so doing well? What are they up to? That's why when you get here, we get to go and report to the community leaders. Sometimes you've met the community leaders and it is a greet and meet session for them to get to know, to take that responsibility that we have guests in our midst, and therefore we need to treat them as such. It is important for you to try to understand the language we use. Although English is the official language, quite a number of people will not speak this language. And some, in attempting to speak the language, will give the wrong direction. And some will just tell you, we are moving near here. But the place they tell you is so near, you'll end up walking for an hour before you get there. I think Julia experienced that. So as you're taking these instructions or listening to them, you need to be very cautious that what is said may not be necessarily what you're going to experience. Quite a number of things you will need to ask, how you need to ask for or to go about some things instead of just going ahead to do as you feel or wish, because it may be misconstrued for something very different. So take pride in asking the person next to you. In Uganda, it is always best to shake hands when greeting. Either hand, never really. Sometimes you may need to get hold of your as you are shaking your left hand to support you this way. That I'm shaking hands with you to show a sign of respect. I'll stretch out my hand and then the hand supporting as I'm reaching. May take a little bit longer than you expect this to be high, but then just 3-4 minutes. When my pleasant that will be exchanged. Don't feel so uncomfortable to withdraw your hand in your rush that you may need to protect yourself as you're greeting people. Some may feel so embarrassed.
Daaki, we're just losing your voice a little bit. I don't know if it's for others, but it's breaking up some.
Okay. Allow me do this. I'm going to talk.
Great.
I'm going to talk using the phone which is connected and then do the slide just here. I hope that is okay.
Yes, thank you. That's very clear.
Okay, I believe this is being a little bit more audible, right? Okay, I was saying sometimes you'll meet people who are quite senior than you are, and these will be women who will normally kneel to greet you as a sign of respect. Accept it as it is and move on. Below those pictures, we have the traditional way how women will kneel down, and then the cultural or practices they'll be participating in. That is the dance, and then that's the kabaka of Buganda being carried on the shoulder as he greets his subjects. That is in central Uganda. In Uganda, you never meet anyone without greeting them. Just even if you're to say hi, it is very important that you do that. However, other greetings will extend to how is family, how is business, how about life, how about health, and all those things. They are never in a hurry of time to say, there's what I'm going out to do. So you will need to take time to greet people. On eye contacts, generally Ugandans prefer indirect eye contact when communicating with someone considered of a higher social status, or a foreigner, a mzungu as you may be. You may not need to give them that eye contact for so long. This doesn't mean that you can't look at them directly, but rather during conversations, you can look at them as you shift your contact, not being staring at them fully as you discuss with them. If this is done, some may consider overly direct eye contact as being aggressive, especially rural women and children who will look down or away when communicating with men, elders, and foreigners. So when you meet them and they really don't want to look you in the eye, don't think of it otherwise, just the way they are groomed, and it's taken to be a way of respect. When gesturing or beckoning for someone to come, you should face your palm downwards and make a scratching motion. Let me demonstrate it here, maybe. This is your palm. You're calling for someone who you're not sure of. This is how you do it. Just to come to you. It may be a child, it may be an old person, but you're not sure of their name. Use your palm to call them. Instead of pointing your finger at them or just saying you, rather give somebody that sort of scratching a motion, and they'll get to know that you're signaling them to come closer so that you can communicate with them. In our culture and etiquette, it is considered rude to point directly at a person when in a conversation. Rather, you should use your whole hand like this to point at someone, not with a finger. There are a variety of signs you may use. You may say no using this movement to say no, or rather shake your head to say no to a what? To a conversation that is going on. Others, in affirmation, you may shake your head up and down if it's affirmation. Among other signs, you can say sorry by bowing a little, holding your hand and say, I'm sorry, like have it by your chest, and then tell somebody you're sorry if anything has offended them. Or maybe this is another way of saying sorry if you're communicating to somebody who does not understand the language English that you're using, but you're sensing that perhaps they are getting, or they've gotten agitated or offended by what you have done. That is
one of the ways of using gesturing as a way of expressing self. Allow me, I think you went through this relational aspect in life. Those ones who got time to watch the other video. Showing respect to elders, it's very important. The more we grow, the more we become celebrities. Our population is generally young, that people above 60 only comprise less than 7% of the population. So whenever you meet a person who is elderly, they deserve the respect and honor, and they expect it from you. So just show it to them and move on. Learn to control emotions of anger. Always expect something to happen, but please don't explode. Grin and bear with it, keep quiet and let it go. When showing anger publicly, Ugandans will even if it's the person that you're trying to reprimand, they'll decide to walk away comfortably to avoid confrontation. That is how we earn, that's how it is. So try to resolve any conflict, any misunderstanding in a very amicable way. Communicate it to whoever has offended you in a respectful manner. Signs of affection are private, good enough. No hugging, no kissing, among others. Sensitive subjects like on gender affirming and whatever LGBT, those are issues that you should avoid as much as possible bringing up when dealing with the traditional society that in Uganda is. And this was before the anti-homosexuality bill was passed into law. Now it is quite a different thing given talking about it, but awareness can be created, and don't bring up subjects that will be considered taboo according to the culture of the people that you are dealing with. I went ahead to say that unless it's public moments of celebration and in events of death, those public display of emotion should be avoided. Things like hugging strangers, kissing them, things that people do not really appreciate, and they don't accept their value. You'll find friends walking together holding hands. It is pretty odd, but that happens. So don't feel surprised when you find a Ugandan and they grip their hands and they are holding hands with you as they are walking around. Should you go out with somebody, staff or anybody in the village, please, there's no splitting the bill. You bear the bill because they didn't ask for the invite. It's not that side where I invite you for a drink and then I pay for my drink and the other pays for a drink. Daaki can, but not everybody else will do that. Okay. Got to say the question of when and when not to tip can be difficult in any foreign country. In Uganda's culture etiquette, it is customary to tip your driver or a guide at the end of the trip or hike. Well, it may also be a person who cooked for you or a porter that accompanies you carrying your bags. A tip of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 in a day is something fair that anybody can have. And for those who want to go for a safari, this depends on the service that you've experienced. If the person was so good, you can tip them in whatever way you feel that you enjoyed yourself and they gave you the best of the service, that is how much you may decide to tip them, depending on the quality of service. I noticed most of you love crafts, and you were taken out, and others I got to hear that you were either the prices sounded quite ridiculously high, others felt they were ripped off and stuff like that. But that's why in most cases I'll always ensure that you have somebody to accompany you, so that when you get to the market, a little haggling here and there will always come in handy. They shouldn't tell you 50,000, then you just pick 50,000. When they tell you 50,000, you'll find that you haggle a little bit. You'll pay the 45 or 40,000. Just have that time to say this is how to give. They tell you a price, you give your offer. That is how it should be, and that's how it should work. Whether it is a taxi or a private guide or buying anything, except for produce in the market where you're buying a pineapple or a mango, there it's 5,000, maybe the list will be 4,000. But try to, as you're haggling, you haggle with quite some courtesy. It should be understood that craft sellers are open to negotiation. It does not mean that you were initially being overcharged or ripped off, but rather these people generally caught expecting that you will bargain. They tell you 150,000, they know you'll say, okay, I'm offering 130 or 140. So they will begin high so that they can come to something that is agreeable. It is not necessary to respond aggressively or in an uncustomary manner. As I end today, my battery is running low. The few cultural mistakes you should avoid, I think we discussed them in the other video. I don't think I'll need to repeat them. Be perceptive and humble at all times. Nobody expects you to get everything right, so mistakes are prone to happen. Julia did witness one. I think we were at school doing immunization. Something happened, but it shouldn't take you like by surprise or what. Things happen. What matters most is how we navigate and get over them. It is a period to learn and be able to move forward. Just things to note. Uganda has over 50 languages spoken. English is the national language. Swahili is considered the second language, whereas Luganda is the most widely spoken language across the country. We have the youngest population of over 75% below the age of 25. 84% of Ugandans are Christian and 13% are Muslim. Our population is estimated to be 45 million, not a 43 anymore. It is 45 million, and we have the highest growing population in any landlocked country in the world. We share borders with 5 countries, that's Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, South Sudan, and the DR Congo. About a quarter of our land surface is made up of lakes and rivers. Our women traditionally build homes. They are responsible for constructing the walls of mud houses that I showed you in the northern part of Uganda, while men build the roofs of the homes. And over 10% of the world's bird species, which Julia also had special interest in last time, they are found in Uganda. I don't know, by the time she left, she had recorded over 70 different birds, I think. Something like that. Our national animal is the crested crane that is featured in our flag, and we are known as the Pearl of Africa because of our incredible beauty and diversity. We gained our independence from the British in 1962, thus making English our national language. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for listening to me. I was supposed to put in something to do with traditional medical practices. This I was not able to do given the eventualities that came my way. I will apologize for that, and please accept my apologies. I think on the next recording, I'll be able to put that. Thank you and have a blessed day. Back to you, Julia.
Thank you so much. I wonder if you have time for just a couple of questions from the students.
Please go ahead with the questions.
Thank you. You know, that was a lot of information this morning, and there's probably lots to think about. Does anyone have questions they would like to ask while we have Daaki on the line?
I have a question. Sorry. I'm just wondering about in terms of our clothing, should we be wearing full leg pants?
In terms of your clothing, what do you wear? Being decent is good enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We wore a combination of kind of like looser fitting pants or skirts that were below the knee, kind of like at the just below the knee level or like longer.
Yeah, or like longer, yeah.
I was just wondering if there were any Lugandan words or phrases that would be good for us to learn prior to arrival.
Okay, I'm going to make it's a practice for us to have a WhatsApp group. And I'll request that Julia makes a WhatsApp group for the team that is coming and add me there on too. I'll be able to give you the basic phrases like wasuzotia for good morning, bulungi, okay, you know, things like that. Basic greeting phrases, those I should be able to provide.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Looks like not yet.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, well, I'll thank you very much for joining us this morning. I'm going to stop the recording here. If I find the